Welcome to Rad, a daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. Adults who are obsessed with Disney are kind of creepy. Disney-obsessed people tend to say they enjoy the magic and fairy tales. But that just feels like denial of how terrible real life is. So instead of working together and fixing life, they spend hundreds, even thousands going to parks, buying merchandise, and watching movies over and over. All the while that money goes to a mega corporation that contributes to the worsening of real life. Also, Disney is pretty much geared towards kids, and being crazy about it is sorta creepy. It just seems like these people have experienced a failure to launch. People should grow up and stop expecting life to be a fairy tale. Edit. If you don't live in Florida, I don't think you understand how obsessed these people are. Edit 2. Florida is a large place. I have this unpopular opinion because I live walking distance from Disney. Edit 3. Yeah, edits are unnecessary. But you can really tell who knows the people I'm talking about. And people who can't distinguish passion from obsession. Last edit. I don't live in my mom's basement because Florida doesn't have basements. At least she didn't want to pretend you were Olaf, or worse, Sven the reindeer. Or Olaf with that icicle of his. We've all seen his large carrot too. Remember to cup his snowballs. How do you delete someone else's comment? I agree that the stereotypical Disney adults are kinda weird, but I don't think it's abnormal at all to love rewatching films and enjoying Disney-related things in general. Some do it for nostalgia, some just genuinely enjoy the stories and classics. They're called timeless for a reason. IDK, I don't think it's that weird. Have an upvote for your unpopular opinion. I wonder if part of it comes from wanting their adult lives to be like their childhood. Magical and problem-free. My older sister watches Disney a lot, and I imagine that a large part of it is the wanting something back from her childhood. Also, the music is just kick butt. Gotta love Phil Collins. Lots of people can really use that escape, too. It can actually be pretty healthy. Also, it doesn't seem inherently creepy to like movies, shows, hobbies, etc. that are generally more geared towards kids. In many cases, those are just interests that people had as kids and it simply continued into adulthood. Like my dad is 67 and he still loves reading comic books because he's been collecting them since he was little. Who cares? He enjoys it. It's not creepy or emotionally stunted. It's just something that makes him happy. It's not like we're obligated to just abruptly abandon our interests and hobbies the second we turn 18. And calling it creepy seems to imply some really unnecessary connotations, when it's something that can be genuinely innocent. I'm not personally a Disney fan, but I don't think it's fair to condemn people for simply deriving joy from the things they grew up with. Just let them be happy. FFS. A great quote from C.S. Lewis. Critics who treat adult as a term of approval, instead of as a merely descriptive term, cannot be adult themselves. To be concerned about being grown up, to admire the grown-up because it is grown up, to blush at the suspicion of being childish. These things are the marks of childhood and adolescence. And in childhood and adolescence they are, in moderation, healthy symptoms. Young things ought to want to grow. But to carry on into middle life or even into early manhood, this concern about being adult is a mark of really arrested development. When I was 10, I read fairy tales in secret and would have been ashamed if I had been found doing so. Now that I am 50, I read them openly. When I became a man, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up. Why would anyone do anything excessively? An escape. It's really not that hard to understand. It's for the same reason Up has 50+ comments and multiple posts in less than a day. Or why I play video games. Usually a harmless escape, so let them be, better than being hypocritical and calling them weirdos for it. Up seems to say fleetingly that life is hard and we ought to just grow up. I think that's a backwards way of looking at it. Life has become more pressured. Work hours are longer and just existing is more expensive than ever. Giving your money to a monster like this is wrong, yet the bigger, scarier monsters are controlling your country right now and have far more impact. You are sad because you are worth more miserable. I personally am all for fostering your inner child. Some of us didn't get to experience a proper childhood or were abused. So long as you function as an adult, what is the problem? Wear pink, feel cute, whatever, it's your life. Not to mention some of the most creative and imaginative people in this world are very childish. The idea that growing up means that you get rid of your toys and entertainment that is made for kids is a very superficial idea of maturity. Nothing about you really changes when you throw the things away that you haven't touched in a long while anyway. If you have been enjoying them and you throw them away, you just end up more miserable. Being so obsessed with being mature that you're willing to give up things you legitimately enjoy is itself pretty immature. Being so obsessed with being mature that you're willing to give up things you greater than legitimately enjoy is itself pretty immature. I agree. If the toys make you happy, then keep them. I think it's more mature to be able to admit that something makes you happy and to stand by that. Took my kid to Disney when she was 4 going on 5. We were first in line to get on the next It's a Small World boat. Gate opens. We head for the front seat and a couple about 40 years old ran and jumped into the front seat right as I was lifting my daughter to put her in there. That's some fricked up crap. That's the most pathetic thing I've ever read. People really have no shame. God damn. And pretty fake unless it's years old. There's a worker that directs you into lines. Say they launch 4 boats at a time and they each hold 4 people. The worker asks you how many people. You say 3, and she says line 1. Which would be first boat? Next in line, 2 people. Line 2. Next in line, 2 people. Line 2. Next in line, 4 people. Line 3. Edit. 1510 here. You can see how it unloads as others get on. www.youtube.com. By your logic, one could probably make the same case for Marvel DC obsessives. Just saying. How many of those who agreed with other Marvel DC Uber fans? Does your opinion change? Not just Marvel DC but any popular IP from the last 50-odd years would fall into the same category. Harry Potter, Pokemon, Lego, Mario, Zelda, Doctor Who, they were all geared towards children when they started and many fans have grown up with them and still enjoy them today. Some of those IPs even have theme parks, yearly conventions, fan clubs. Is there a money limit before one goes from being a fan to being super obsessive and creepy? Is it counted by how many pieces of merchandise you own? Does a single Lego brick count as a piece of merchandise? Edit. People seem to think I agree with UP. I don't. I was merely pointing out the ridiculousness of attacking people who love Disney when chances are we all love an IP that was made for kids. My wife and I are both Disney fanatics. We aren't at the extreme edge but we are much more into it than your normal person. It's just a special place for both of us. I proposed in front of the castle at Disneyland. We did our honeymoon at Disney World and we usually go a few times per year. We have a disabled son. He is only going to live so long, so we made the decision that instead of buying stuff we spend it on experiences, so we drive from ND to Orlando a couple times a year. It may seem strange to most people but when we're there it feels like we're finally home. You sound like amazing parents. Your son is lucky to have you. Thanks. That's a very nice thing to say. I wish I was a better dad really. My wife is the wonderful one. She takes care of our boy and moves him around, helps him eat, wipes his butt and works a full-time job. I'm in renal failure and on dialysis so I get 2 weeks to help move him. I don't know why I'm telling everyone my life story on here, lol, feels good to vent. The point is my wife is super incredible, lol. There's so many people replying who obviously don't have these Disney fanatics in their life. I know people thousands of dollars in credit card debt who don't miss a year at Disney and buying tons of merch, or people who could go anywhere and pass up trips to new international places to go to Disney for the 5th year in a row. People who have kids but spend a 10-year anniversary at Disney alone. It's insane and I totally agree. So weird that they're in this active nostalgia mode instead of just enjoying life and adults. Congrats Op. You are one of the very few to actually post a legit unpopular opinion. Now you're being downvoted and there's a bunch of angry comments, lol. This sub is a good idea but just doesn't work. Thanks for watching Rad. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out Rad too.